in Shelby County for a very special cab cam along with Bernard Clinehens. I'm Higgins for the Ohio AgNet, and the reason this one's a special one is because Bernard is still running the combine at 88 years old, and well, I have to imagine you do it this long, you must enjoy it, Bernard.
Yes, I do, especially since you got auto steer. You don't have to guide it across the field, so you can watch the combine head for rocks and whether it's dragging or anything. So it's an easy way to run the combine.
Well, things have changed quite a bit since you first started harvest when you were a kid.
Yes, indeed. When the first combine we had, I set out in the open, and all that dust and dirt would collect on you during the day, and you were covered all over with dust. Now you're set in an air conditioning cab, and the weather doesn't have any effect on you at all.
One thing that's changed quite a bit are the yield numbers. Obviously, they've gotten better over the years, and this year, I understand this field might get over 60 bushel to the acre for the soybeans, and other fields have been right around the 50s. Boy, technology's come a long way in the field, hasn't it?
Yeah, yes, it has. The first soybeans we raised for cattle feed, so we made hay off of them. They made good feed, but you couldn't get the beans dry enough to keep in a hay mow. So we only did that a couple years, and then we switched to raising soybeans for harvest. First soybeans, if you got 25 to 30 bushel acres, you're doing excellent. Now you have to have over 50 to be qualified for a good harvest.
What keeps you going? You should be off into the sunset drinking your mixed drink on the beach somewhere, right?
Well, I'm not that great a fan of traveling. My wife's on a trip to the East Coast now. She likes to travel, and I know. And it's the busy part of the season, so I couldn't get away anyhow, but I did like to travel.
You still enjoy it, but what do you enjoy the most?
Well, running the combine is really something now when it's on the auto steer. I just run the tractor and the combine. My son does all the bookwork and decisions and all that type of thing. I've got the easy part.
A lot has changed over the last 8 decades, and you've seen that change. And we've talked about the positive changes. What has happened that maybe isn't so good in agriculture? Is it the competitiveness of farmers in the same county? Is it fluctuating prices? What do you think is the biggest challenge right now?
Part of it is you have to farm so many acres in order to make a go to afford the whole machinery. And a young farmer has the time starting up because they can't afford all the expensive equipment, and they don't have the land available to them to make it profitable. So a lot of young people can't start up in farming because of this high cost of starting up.
Do you ever have anybody ask you for advice that are in their 20s or 30s that are in farming and saw $7 corn and thought it was going to be here to stay? Did you ever have a chance to have those conversations?
Oh yes, yes. When you tell them how it used to be, they can't believe it. Just like I was telling my son this morning how I had to sit out in this dust, and he said, you can't imagine how you could stand to do that the whole day in the open air combine that way.
What advice do you give to someone that's younger that wants to stay in farming as long as you have? Because times have changed, so what do you think is the standard for staying in this industry for so long?
Well, you got to like what you're doing, and it's a job that you don't have you're your own boss. You don't have someone telling you what to do and when to do it and so forth. So you can make your own decisions, and sometimes they're not the best decisions, but they're your decisions, so you can't blame anybody else. My father was a little slow in adapting new technology. My son is just the opposite. When he got home from college, from Ohio State, he was the first one to plant a no-till field. And he did it along 65, right along the road, and everybody thought he was crazy planting this no-till corn. Now, the majority of the farmers around here have adopted that policy.
Would you do anything else?
I don't know what else I would do, no. When I was in high school, I thought I wanted to be a high school teacher, or a teacher itself. So one day the chemistry teacher was talking to me, and he wanted to know what I planned on doing, and I said, well, I was thinking about going to teaching. He said, well, I don't know if you're growing up on a farm, I'd consider staying there. So when I got back from the Army, my other brother had already married, and my dad was alone then, so I just kind of stayed with him and worked into the farming business then myself.
88 years old and still farming in Shelby County with his son Bernard Clinehens. Ty Higgins with the cab cam here on the Ohio AgNet, and you do keep a pretty straight line, Bernard.
Yes. Without your hands on the steering wheel.
We'll see you down the road.